Total Extreme Wrestling, my name is Brendan Plays. This is the go-home edition of Dynamite and Rampage before Full Gear. And we are hoping to have another good show. It's already booked and ready to go. But of course, Full Gear coming up. The pay-per-view card looks pretty good to me. I'm pretty happy with what we've got together. Obviously, Cody and MJF won last time in the main event. Well, it might not even be main event, actually. I'm contemplating putting this 8-man tag team match in the main event, but that, of course, will be Punk, Danielson, their return against with Darby and Malachi against the Elite. That should be a big match. Of course, Jericho and Sammy Guevara one-on-one, the Hardys and the Lucha Bros, the TNT Championship 4-way, that'll be good. The Women's Tag Team Championship will finally crown a winner with that one, and much more. So looking forward to seeing what we come up with at Full Gear in terms of performances and results. But before we get there, we've got Dynamite, and let's kick it off. So we'll start things off with CM Punk, Danielson, Darby Allin, and Malachi Black. They're all in the ring. They don't want to wait till Full Gear. They are ready to fight now. And the Elite, they come on the screen, basically say, look, we're not even there. We're not at the arena. We knew this was going to happen. We knew you guys wanted to fight. We're resting up. We're keeping ourselves fresh for the pay-per-view. So the Elite have decided to take probably a smarter approach, I would say, and just leave it for the pay-per-view. 100 rated for that segment there. Excellent stuff. Next up, Britt Baker and Jade Cargill forced to team up together, and they took on Brandy and Velvet. In the end, Britt and Jade did pick up the win when Jade was able to get the better of Red Velvet. 47 rated match. Britt was the best match, 49. Brandy 44, Jade a little underwhelming, 39, Red Velvet 27. So not too bad. We did try and make this like a match that, you know, hid the flaws of a lot of the weaker workers in the match, which is why Jade, Brandy, and Red Velvet all got a bit of a boost to that. So 47, so two rivals having to team up together always creates a bit of dissension, which led to the post-match brawl. Jade ended up shoving Britt Baker, and because, you know, Jade's so powerful, Britt Baker was just flattened right on her backside, and she said, look, I don't want any of that. I don't want none of that tonight. I'm getting the hell out of there. So Britt Baker nearly shoved out of the ring and decided to get the hell out of there while she could. 46 for that one. Cody Rhodes gives the Nightmare family a pep talk ahead of tonight's main event. So we're going to do it. We're taking a big risk, and it probably won't be a good thing for our storyline heat and things like that. But, you know, we've talked about the focus of this feud is to try and elevate some of the other guys in the groups around MJF and Cody, which is why we're going to go with Cody Rhodes teaming up with some guys in the Nightmare family. Despite the fact, yes, the Nightmare family don't have a lot of popularity. They're not going to be very good. This could be a rough one, but we're going to go for it anyways. 81 for this segment. Chris Jericho took on Isaiah Cassidy in a 73 rated match. Jericho, of course, picking up the win. He performed at 79, Isaiah 50. Good stuff. Post-match, Chris Jericho promises to prove to the world that he is better than Sammy Guevara at Full Gear. So 99 for that one. Finally, Jericho producing some goods. He hasn't really excelled that well lately on the stick. This time he produces a 99 promo, doing really well, hopefully to advance and improve the Inner Circle storyline, which has been struggling a little bit, so hopefully that will fix it up. Next up, wow, this is a good one. 6-woman tag team match. Serena Deeb and The Inspiration teamed up to take on Ruby Soho and TJ. So of course, Ruby and Serena, they're going to fight each other, hopefully on the pay-per-view if we can find time. And in The Inspiration and TJ, obviously they're coming up against each other for the women's tag titles. So we threw them all together in a 6-woman tag, and look, 52 rated match is really good. Serena 39, Cassie 48, Jessie was the best in the match 50, Anna Jay was good 39, Ty Conti 30, and Ruby Soho 48. Some good performances all around in my opinion, so that's a really solid match. In the end, Serena in The Inspiration grabbed the win after a handful of tights allowed Cassie Lee to pin Ty Conti. So there we have it. Now at the pay-per-view, I'm pretty sure the babyface is going to win, so that's why we gave the heels a win here, cheating their way to a victory before the pay-per-view. Miro and Adam Page share a beer and toast before they end up fighting in the bar. So yeah, look, Adam Page is in the bar, he's having a couple of beers, he's enjoying himself. Miro comes along, decides to have a beer, sit down, have a quick chat with Adam Page, and these two guys, look, you know, they respect one another. They're both baby faces, but they know that a fight has to come at some point. These two guys haven't fought each other yet in the build-up towards Full Gear, and this is where they do that there. Barroom Brawl 79, not too bad. Probably not as good as I thought it could have been. We gave a win to Anthony Ogogo over Joey Janela, so we look to spotlight Ogogo a little bit here, who hasn't been in the mix too much of late. We had some spare time, so I figured let's get Ogogo out there. Joey Janela's on his way out, so let's give some popularity to Ogogo if we can. 21 for the match. Not that great, but we knew that was going to be. Lance Archer and Jake Roberts. An undisclosed location as Jake Roberts talks about why Lance will destroy Paul White. Lance is training in the background, beating up some guys, getting himself ready for the big fight with Paul White. 66 for that one. This has been a tough storyline to book because, you know, Paul White, we don't want to have him featured too much in the ring. We want to keep him relatively special. Lance Archer doesn't have a lot of good opponents that he can really run through to kind of increase the storyline heat. And both guys, you know, Paul White's pretty good on the mic, Lance Archer not so much, so it's a bit hard to get over the storyline with the promos. It's just been a really tough one to get good. It's just been mediocre, I suppose. But hopefully when they meet in the ring, they do end up having a decent match. Park defeated Matt Sydal in a 73 rated match. Park 81, wow. Matt Sydal 44. These two guys have met a few times in the past here in the series, but we wanted to give Park a win over a formidable opponent ahead of the TNT Championship match because he's taken a few L's as of late. MJF tells the Pinnacle not to hold back on the Nightmare family tonight and to make sure that Cody doesn't make it out on his own 2 feet. 91 rated for that promo by MJF. Excellent stuff. So yeah, they want to make sure that, look, that they hurt the Nightmare family, and in particular, Cody Rhodes is nowhere near 100% for the pay-per-view. So we've got the big 5-on-5 main event here. I've got no idea. Like, seriously, this could be really bad. This could be decent. It's not going to be good, I know that, but we've taken a risk. Let's see it. Nightmare Family and the Pinnacle, 74. Wow. Okay, well, that's not too bad. That's not as bad as I thought. So it was the Pinnacle, which was Dax, Cash, MJF, Wardlow, and Sean Spears, taking on Cody, Dustin, Lee Johnson, and the Guns. So the Guns are still in the Nightmare Family in our save. I know in real life they're not, but for us they are. Otherwise, we wouldn't really have a lot of guys. The only other person we could have used was Brock Anderson, which I thought better of. I figured the Guns would be a better choice just because they're a team. But yeah, so let's take a look. Sean Spears, 44, Wardlow, 65, so some decent starts there. MJF carried it on his side, 84. Cash, 71, Dax, 68. I feel like we could have got better out of those two. Austin Gunn, 26, Colton, 20, Lee Johnson, 24, so that's where the match really gets let down. Dustin was okay, 48. Cody was the best match, 85. So, look, we tried our best to get it to be a decent match. Austin Gunn took a big bump in the match as well. And of course, the Pinnacle picked up the win in the end as MJF used the ropes to beat Austin Gunn, just to cheat his way to a victory, of course. But yeah, so Cody was the best match, same with MJF, carrying it to 74. Cannot believe that. Post-match, MJF continues to punish Cody Rhodes, and he poses with his belt post-match. 80 rated for that one. So there you have it. Not too bad in the end, as a decent show, an alright main event. It gives us an 81 rated edition. Look, I tell you what, with the guys we had in the main event, to get an 81 rated show, I'll take that. I will definitely take that. Not bad. Alright, let's have a look at the report of Dynamite. So we've been having some big ratings as of late, and another one here, 1.71 TV rating in total. And it was 958,000 on TNT. So some good stuff there. We are slowly really building our viewership base indeed. So that's really good. So that's, of course, the final Dynamite before we get into Rampage. We'll have a quick look. Did the Nightmare family get anything out of that match? Lee Johnson, 18 popularity now. He was 17, so I guess that is some sort of progression. Austin Gunn, 19 popularity, 17 some areas. I honestly think he's gone down. I don't know how he's managed to do it, but it looks like he's honestly gone down, which is a miracle on its own. Colton Gunn, 16, 17. So, look, it looks like he's gone down as well. How do they go down? I don't even know. I really don't know. Dustin Rhodes, it looks like he's gone up, so he's improved. Sean Spears, 38 for him. So, a small increase for him. Cody didn't look like he took too much of a hit, which is good. Thank goodness for that. MJF, he's still at 85, so he's at the max he can get to, so that's great to see. Wardlow's doing really well in the mid-60s. Cash, not too bad, 68. And Dax, close, he's got 71 area, so he's got 68, 69 in some of the others. Anthony Ogogo, he picked up a big win over Joey Janela, so he moves up to 26, 28 popularity, which was good. He was around 24, so a small little increase. As Janela, well, I don't know, he's dropped back quite a bit. So he's only got a lot of popularity in a couple of areas, does Janela. So it's, more so the tri-state, southwest, east areas, where the other ones, he's not really that popular there. So he's got plenty of popularity to give in some of the other areas in the game, not so much our main areas. Southeast is probably one of them. So we'll probably have him lose a few more matches to some guys. Ogogo was a good one, just to kind of give him a bit of a boost up, and just to give the factory a little bit of momentum and give them a bit of credibility if they've got someone that's half decent in their crew, because they really don't at the moment. Darby involved in another strong segment. He's around mid-50, so he'll be the weak link in the big tag match, but I feel like he'll still hold his own and do really well. So I'm not too concerned there in the end. Got Serena Deeb. She was involved in a nice win with Ruby Soho on the other end. 40 popularity for her. Anna Jay still doing okay. Cassie Lee. So those women's matches, pretty effective as well. Able to kind of slowly boost them up. And I feel like the women's division is starting to come together. We're starting to really figure out who's the right people to push. What do we need to do to get these women over? Well, it seems like some strong promo segments. That's done the work for Jade. Britt Baker is obviously doing well, 43. So we've got a few women that are in that 40 plus mark, which is really important. We can continue to keep them there. That's going to be great for us. So Brandy, she's kind of stuck with Red Velvet at the moment, who's really struggling. So that's kind of holding her down a little bit. But we can try and get Velvet over. That would be good. But so that's kind of where we're at the moment with some of the popularity changes heading into Full Gear. First match of the show here on AEW Dark, FTR took on the Gun Club for a 48 rated match. Cash and Dax 72 and 73, Colton 20 and Austin 29. Yeah, we thought we'd continue that Cody Rhodes and MJF storyline. This time with some of the lower end guys, with the FTR getting a chance to work with the Gun Club. Hopefully trying to improve the Gun Club a little bit here, trying to get them a chance to kind of work together against one of the top tag teams. 48 for this one. FTR, of course, picked up the win. Next up, Colt Cabana says that Ricky Starks could achieve far more without Taz. And before Ricky Starks could reply, Taz interrupted and shut that down immediately. 57 for that one. Leo Rush and Max Caster taunt Top Flight ahead of their match, 39, so you know what's going to be happening there. Max has got a rap. I think Leo Rush can rap too, so maybe both of them will be there together, talking some trash on the mic. 39 for that one. Top Flight took on the Acclaimed, and they lost. The Acclaimed pick up a win thanks to Leo Rush's involvement. Not enough popularity here to have this match do well, but we want to just continue to spotlight these young teams, get them on TV. 29 for the match. Could have easily been around 35 to 40 because most of the people involved performed around that mark, so pretty good. Mark Henry, Will Hobbs share their thoughts on Bobby Fish ahead of the pay-per-view match. So one last promo here by Hobbs and Henry on Bobby Fish, 53. Ali informs Mel that she's no longer required in Superbad. So see you later, Mel. You're no longer needed. 30 for that one. 2.0 took on the Varsity Blondes, and we threw Eddie Kingston in this one as well. Reason being is because, we wanted to have Varsity Blondes and 2.0 have a good match together, but they needed a little bit of popularity involved, and Eddie Kingston's doing nothing at the moment. I figured, why not throw him in there? He's always up for a fight. So 47 for this one. So Kingston's involvement certainly improved the match. He performed at 56, but Brian Pillman Jr., 45 from him. That's a real surprise. So he's really improving every time we see him. Griff Garrison's all right, 34. Jeff Parker was the best on the other team, 43 from him. Denny Garcia doesn't have a lot of popularity at all, but still performed at 34. So not bad performances all around. And in the end, Eddie Kingston, his team got the win when Brian Pillman Jr. pinned Denny Garcia, 47. Next up, TJ promo on the Inspiration, 41. Not bad from them. They're obviously not strong promos, but certainly not a bad one from them, 41. Leo Rush, first chance for him to get in the ring. He performed at 34, picking up a win over Joey Janela. You know what's happening here. We're trying to improve Leo Rush's popularity, and we figured why not do it? Because if he's going to lead the Acclaimed in the portfolio, then he kind of needs a bit of popularity to have a success on the mic. So by giving him a win here, might boost him up a few points, and that might pay off. Dustin Rhodes talks to Arn Anderson about his struggles recently against the Pinnacle. Brock Anderson's there next to Arn as well. 66 for this one from Dustin. So not a bad promo, obviously continuing on from what we mentioned earlier on, the Nightmare Family and Pinnacle storyline. They just had the big 5-on-5. Dustin Rhodes has been struggling, frustrated lately because he just hasn't been able to get the win for his team. So he kind of shares and vents his thoughts on the Pinnacle with Arn. Main event was the Hardys and the Dark Orders, Reynolds and Silver. 51 for the match. Jeff Hardy 77, Matt Hardy 69, Silver 39, Reynolds 32. So obviously the Hardys were performing really, really well. Not so much from the other team, but we knew that. But I always thought that, the Hardys, when they work with these lower teams, and even look FTR early on as well, they're just not quite getting in the upper echelon of performances. They're more so meeting right in the middle or towards the lower end, which is a little bit, a bit of a shame. We would have liked to seen some of these matches do a little bit better to try and help out these other teams. 51 for that one. Post-match, the Lucha Bros cheap shot the Hardys and lay them out, so 74 for that one. So ahead of their match at Full Gear, the Lucha Bros may have the last say here. We did it on Dark because I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to find time for them on Rampage. Certainly probably not a match, so that way we at least wrap things up heading into Rampage. And the way that we book Dark on our game is that we try and make Dark an important show. We try advance storylines. We want it to be must see. It might not have the big stars every week, but there is things happening on the show that make it worthwhile watching. Overall, 53. And for Rampage on the pre-show, TNT were beaten by the Seidels, 40 rated for that one. Just a match to give the Seidels a win. They've got some bad momentum. We opened up the show with Darby Allin and Malachi Black. They took on the Good Brothers in a rematch that took place a few weeks back. Malachi 82, Darby 70. Wow, okay, that is really good. Anderson 65, Gallows 62 as well. Darby Allin picked up the win. He pinned Luke Gallows with a coffin drop, 67 for the match, as we continue to try and give them some momentum and a bit more experience together as a team. CM Punk and Danielson were also there for that one. Punk on commentary and Danielson was ringside. No appearance from the Elite in that previous segment either. Moving on, Cody Rhodes says that he's still hurt, but he will be at Full Gear. 97 for the promo, as we try and recover the storyline heat a little bit after it took a hit from that recent 5-on-5. 97 for the promo by Cody. Miro defeated Peter Avalon in a 70 rated match. Miro 78, Peter Avalon 43. Well, a chance for Miro to get a win, get some momentum building as well, as we're trying to keep all four guys in the T-Team Championship match, all looking good, all looking competitive against the rest of the roster. Adam Page is interviewed about his chances of defending the TNT title at Full Gear. Obviously, talking about how he's coming up against three of the absolute best in AEW. How's he going to survive? How is he going to outlast those three guys in the one single match? 89 for that one. Took a risk with the main event. We had Sammy Guevara and Ortiz. So obviously playing on the Inner Circle storyline. We knew that Ortiz probably wouldn't be good enough to hang in a main event scenario. But we tried our best. 69 by Sammy, 56 from Ortiz, and a 71 rated match. These two had no chemistry. So this could have easily been a lot more if there was some chemistry there. Could have maybe been 74, 75, which would have been a nice surprise. But a 71 is not bad. Look, that's a decent match. I'm happy with that. It's obviously the best one on the show. So it did warrant the main event slot in the end. I was hoping maybe for a little more. Post-match though, a lot of the wrestlers in the back, they get in the middle of Chris Jericho and they stop him from fighting Sammy Guevara. So Sammy's in the ring. He calls out Jericho. Jericho's going to go and fight. He's ready to go. But the locker room clears out and they get in the middle of Jericho to stop him from getting anywhere near the ring to preserve the match for Full Gear. 84 for that one, so a good segment to close out our build up towards Rampage. So hopefully that will help the Inner Circle storyline, and a 76 rated edition of Rampage. Obviously 3 pretty solid matches and a couple of really good promos and angles around it. So not much, everything on the show was pretty good quality, so nothing too bad there. So pretty good. Alright, so for Rampage, we had a 76 rated show, nearly 9,000 in attendance, 1.58 TV rating, so some big ratings again, and TNT rating 859,000, which might be one of the best we've had for Rampage, for sure. We're getting some strong ratings from some of our other broadcasters. Sportsnet 360 is doing 267,000 viewers, so that's giving us a big chunk. Some of the other ones, more so 6,000, 15,000, 30,000, which all add up, but nothing too major. But that Sportsnet one is doing really well, which from memory I believe is Canada. Yes, it is. So we have a medium broadcasting deal in Canada, which is really strong. We used to have the TSN one. We got rid of that and we've upgraded and we've tried to improve our ratings because of it, and I think it's worked. We wanted to try and get that extra couple 100,000 viewers and also grow our Canadian size for the company, which I'm hopeful that it has happened. It looks like it has. We've started at 45 and we've been stuck there for the majority of the game, but since getting this new broadcasting deal, that's lifted to 49, 53 in Ontario. So all of a sudden AEW is starting to grow a little bit there overseas, which is great. A couple things to look at before we get going. Leo Rush, he beat Joey Janela. He's got 35 pop now. I couldn't believe this. That's a huge jump. That's a 5 popularity gain after beating Joey Janela. Now, to be fair, Janela did have a lot of popularity in the Southeast, which I think it might have been 39. It's now dropped to 35, so he's lost a fair bit. To be fair, I think it was 37 before that match. So he lost a couple of points, but Leo Rush gained a lot, which is great. That's exactly what you want. So Leo Rush, his debut match, I don't think he'll wrestle too much for us. I've got him more in a manager spot, but we wanted to kind of do our best to improve his popularity so that the portfolio had the best chance of success. So that's what we've managed to do there. Brock Anderson, he was in a segment with Dustin, and Dustin has gained some popularity again up to 47. So he's a chance to get back to 50. He was nearly there at one point not long ago. Then he took an L. So he's close to getting back there again, which would be great for us just to, get a bit more flexibility on the roster. Some dudes that were in that segment at the end, they get a little bit out of it, but not too much. They might not gain popularity if they haven't already got to the minimum of 16. Then it'll help them get there, but they don't necessarily gain too much from being in those segments, which is a shame. Obviously, if it's a really good segment and they have some sort of involvement, then they might, but as long as they're just kind of fodder, it's not really going to help them all that much. But Sammy Guevara heading into his match with Jericho, looking at 77 popularity in the Southeast, which is of course huge. So things are looking pretty good. in that regard. Ortiz, he had a nice match with Sammy in the end. He's around 61. I really believe it might be time to get rid of the Inner Circle. I think it's holding back Santana and Ortiz from being, in the mix in the tag division, because they've always kind of been lumped with Jericho. I just don't know what you would really do with Jericho without the Inner Circle as well. I mean, he probably could be ready to turn babyface, because I don't know if he would really feud him with a Bryan Danielson or a CM Punk at this stage of his career, and those are the top babyfaces, so Jericho would be pretty far behind those guys, so it kind of makes more sense to keep him as a heel, I suppose. But yeah, so that's something to think about as well. I want to take a quick look at Brian Pillman Jr., who has now moved up to 34 in the Southeast. He was at 33, so that's why he had the big jump in performance. We talked about his struggles in gaining popularity for him. Well, he's got popularity, it's just more so in the Southeast region. So whenever we're in the Southeast, expect Pillman Jr. to have a strong showing. And someone like Will Hobbs is exactly the same, 47 pop in the Southeast. So we have a match in the Southeast, he's going to obviously excel far more if that is the case. So that's kind of where we're at, heading into Full Gear. Our storyline heats: Fish and Hobbs 54, that's good. Baker and Jade 52, that's pretty good. Cody and MJF back to 81. It did slip into the 70s, but we got it back to 81, which is good. Hirsch and Sheeta 47. Paul White and Lance Archer, pretty mediocre, just 64. That's okay. Punk and the Elite is huge, 93. That's going to be really, really big. Ricky Starks and Colt Cabana 60. That's a lot better than I expected, so that could be a nice match and a real breakout match for Ricky. 52 for Serena and Ruby, again, really high, so that's a great opportunity for those two to tear it up. We finally got the Inner Circle storyline at an acceptable mark, 78 now. It's been a real struggle. For a while there, it was around, 60 something, so it's recovered. Hardys and Lucha Bros is really high, 83. The TNT match is 86, so some great ones there. I think the Varsity Blondes and 2.0 storyline is finished. I think we're done with that now. And the women's tag team storyline, 52 for that one, so that's doing pretty well as well. So we're going to crown brand new women's tag team champions, which I'm excited for. I think it's going to be good to have something different in our women's division. So Full Gear is coming up. It'll be our next show. So next time we have an episode, it will be the Full Gear pay-per-view. So make sure you do not miss it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe to see more, and I will see you next time.